Okay, fine. Yeah.
So, morning everyone. Can you listen my voice?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Can you listen my voice?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, good morning everyone. So, this is a case of 27-year-old female who has left a unilateral posterior polar cataract with a pre-existing defect. So, her right eye is within normal limit, and this is a Lensex OCT picture. Showing a pre-existing defect in the posterior capsule with some lens matter already in the anterior vitreous. So once we diagnose the PC defect, our aim is to prevent further extension and nucleus drop. And for that, we find femtodelineation very useful because it enhances the safety in the posterior polar cataract. So the femtosecond laser is programmed to create 3 cylinders within the lens and which results in sharply demarcated layers. The number, size, and depth of the cylinders can be controlled by the surgeon using the live anterior segment OCT. The multiple layer of the nucleus act as a mechanical cushions that protect each layer as it is being removed. The nucleus is then removed without performing a hydro procedure. And starting from the innermost layer, each of the sharply delineated layers is emulsified from inside out within the cushion of the outer layer. So we have used the low parameters for the phaco as we didn't want too much inflation and deflation in the globe. We started with IOP of 20 and then increased to 40. We are also using the low flow rate of only 20 while doing a phaco. Because of the low flow rate, everything happens slowly and happens under our control. At the end of the nucleus removal, a thick and uniform epinuclear plate cushion remains. So because of the sharp vertical wall created by the laser circumferentially, the epinuclear cushion is easily removed using a combination of the phaco probe and bimanual irrigation and aspiration. So bimanual irrigation aspiration enables the maintenance of a closed chamber at all the times and also makes subincisional epinuclear removal easier. So we can now see the pre-existing PC defect. So ultimately, we were able to preserve the pre-existing defect. So now what next? 3-piece IOL in sulcus, single piece in bag, or toric IOL. So with our experience of pediatric cataract surgery, we decided to convert this posterior capsule defect into posterior capsulorhexis, so which will give it a strong margin. So keep changing the hands from one side to another for better ergonomic comfort, and use of micro incision instruments really helps. So you may have to change your hands multiple times while doing a PCCC. And we are trying to encompass the plaque also, so patient will have a relatively clear visual axis. So finally, we were able to achieve a strong margin after completing posterior capsulorhexis in this case. So this is a PCCC margin. So this is a strong PCCC margin. So it is imperative that we make sure that there is no vitreous disturbance, which fortunately was not present in this case. And finally, now we have a situation where we have a strong anterior capsulorhexis and posterior rhexis. So this is a high astigmatism correcting T7 IOL. So the toric IOL was injected slowly and nicely in the back, and we used the Varion to align the IOL axis. Of course, we didn't go below the IOL to remove the visco. So this is the end picture and reconfirming the vitreous disturbance at the end. And this is a final picture. So this is the end. So this is a picture of 6 months follow-up. Thank you.
Just stop sharing your screen. That's an excellent presentation, an excellent way to manage the pre-existing PC defect, Dr. Asaf. Well
Thank
done.
you very much.
I think we have Dr. Gunjan and Dr. Alpesh Rajput here. So I'd like to have their views. First, Dr. Gunjan. Dr. Gunjan, she's a very young and dynamic cataract surgeon and a glaucoma specialist. Dr. Gunjan, anything different would you have done? And what are your views on this case management?
Hello.
Yeah. Yes, Dr.
So
Gunjan.
we don't have femto
That's
in
fine.
our setting. So what we do, is we do just a gentle hydro delineation, and then with viscoelastic we separate epinuclear plate from the remaining cortical material, and then we also use bimanual. But majority of cases with gentle hydro delineation, we usually don't encounter any major PC rent or PC defect. We can implant an IOL in the back. Of course, we are not doing PCCC because we are not very much experienced with that. But we usually implant IOL in the sulcus.
Okay. Dr. Alpesh, how many cases you
Yeah.
get for this PCR management and nucleus drop and all? We'd like to have your opinion.
Yeah, we love to get those cases, but nowadays, like Dr. Asav has done very excellent job. So we are very helpless. We are not getting much of cases like this. Few times we are getting the picking pupil after the months or 3 months. So these are the patients we have to manage very carefully. What he did is he used the tricot very good amount. And the worry about in our case, the main thing is which visco you have to use for continuous doing the PCC. Because if the visco is going downward in post-op stress, there is a chance of intraocular pressure high, and we are using two or three times triamcinolone. So again, that triamcinolone crystals can go in a trabecular meshwork, and these are the young guys. So it can lead to increase in intraocular pressure. That is my first concern. And one more thing, it's very beautifully he has managed the anterior compartment. So in what we vitreous surgeon do, we just keep a pars plana and did it from the behind PCC and remove the do the core vitrectomy just behind the PCC. So that is what we do in pediatric cases, in few complicated cases. Thank you.
Dr. Asav?
Excellent. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Please, Dr. Sudhi, go ahead.
Yeah, the first, I would like to ask which instrument you used for the PCC. Was that a vitrector?
No, it is not the Vitractor. It is a micro instrument. We have two. One is a Greisefer forceps and another is the Epsilon forceps. So that forceps we use for doing the PCCC.
Okay, so it has a vacuum to hold the flap.
No, it doesn't have vacuum. It is a purely mechanical forceps.
Okay.
Yes, mechanical forceps. And with that only we can, it is a spring-like mechanism. So with that only we do the PCCC.
Dr. Asav, is it a 23 gauge or a 25 gauge you use?
No, these we are doing from the side port only, 1 millimeter inch.
Okay, but size has to be decided. Now, Epsilon make either 23 or 25. So that is why I am asking. And Greisefer also.
Yes, sir. This is the 23, sir.
Okay, so this is the same VR instrument we are using. Huh?
Yes, exactly. Right, sir. Right, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
My question
Okay,
to Dr. Asav is
excellent
what?
surgery.
Yeah, please. What is your PCR rate with this femto delineation technique, Dr. Asav? And what was the axis and other parameters you use particularly for this femtosecond machine Lensex?
We have reported 4.4% PCR rate with this technique, which is better than the 6 to 8% of other manual techniques. And parameters we use was 4.6 millimeter Rexis size, 5.5 millimeter of outer diameter of the cylinder, and 10 millijoule of this laser energy, and 500 micron offset from the posterior capsule.
Okay, 500 micron offset. That's the keyword. And
Yes,
what are your views? How is it better than the manual technique? I mean, a lot of people, don't have this access to the femtosecond laser.
Yes, right. With with this technique, we can completely eliminate the need for any kind of hydro procedure, and we can create those multiple cylinders inside the nucleus that act as a cushion. So one by one, when we remove these cylinders, we can totally have this hydraulic pressure building on the PC. We can totally avoid. So chances of the PCR are significantly less in this technique. That is what we believe.
Dr. Pooja, your views?
I want to ask, like, everyone can comment on it, because I know I saw your work, but when you do a laser, like when you're doing a flax procedure to create a rexis, you are increasing the intraocular pressure. So don't you think if it's a pre-existing defect, You'll have a nucleus drop
Uh,
to.
Yes, right. That is a concern that these bubbles created by the femto laser can have a lot of effect. But we are basically using a slow energy, so it creates a small bubbles, and these small bubbles are really manageable in our technique. So we are not reporting any, we are not experiencing any such kind of pressure on
Also,
the
a second,
posterior capsule.
I would like to add
So
also
have you?
PPCs are very
Dr.
young.
Gunjan, then Alisha. Yeah, fine.
Do you have any experience with hard cataract, like brown cataract? Because most of posterior
Exactly.
polar are softer.
Yes, right. In that cases, we use higher lens laser energy. If in case of there is nuclear sclerosis also there, and in all the PCR cases that we have done, we have occurred, we could able to convert all of them into PCCC and finally able to implant IOL in the bag in all the cases.
One last
And
question
do you
from
do
Dr. Alisha.
PCC for all patients or?
No, not the all patient, not the all patient. Only in case of PCR happens, then only we do PCCC. Or if there is a pre-existing PC defect. Otherwise, we don't do PCCC. This patient was 27-year-old.
Dr. Alisha?
Yes, so I was going to mention the same point that most of these PPCs come at a younger age. Because they come at a younger age, we don't need too much laser energy to sort of delineate. And or delineate, or in our machine, for example, we cut, then we don't need too much laser energy. Because we don't use too much laser energy, the bubbles that are produced are very less. Also, after femto, the rule is that once you remove the excess, you're supposed to burp the bubble, which is what I think Pooja was talking about, that may cause some amount of pressure. Yeah, so that can definitely occur in a harder cataract where there are larger bubbles. But usually with these PPCs, they are luckily younger patients who present to us, and mostly, and the laser energy used is less. So usually we don't have an issue.